Welcome to Realtors Unfiltered, where we pull back the curtain on the world of real estate. No fluff, no filters, just real stories, real advice, and the realities of buying, selling, and everything in between. This is your host, Inas Latif. Whether you're a client looking for your dream home or an agent seeking inspiration and insight, you've come to the right place. Let's get started. Thank you for tuning in today. I'm your host, Inas Latif, and with me today is a special guest, Catie Fallon. Hi, Catie. How are you today?
Hello. I'm so good.
We're so excited to have you with us today. So there's a lot we can really talk about, especially when you started your real estate career.
Mm-hmm.
Can you tell us a little bit about the reality of starting a real estate career?
Yeah. So it's actually coming up on 2 years this March that I got my license, which is crazy.
Amazing.
I know, because it went by so fast. But when I first got my license, I was working a full-time job and I have 2 kids, and I was just like, I'm going to do this just on the side, just if family and friends need, help, like I can be the resource.
Well, what motivated you to start real estate?
To get my license?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Probably my kids, and just like I've just always loved real estate and houses and like interior design and everything. I mean, I think there's a lot of people like that. But I also like, I always am looking for something new to do to challenge me. Like I'm that, type of person. But I like the idea of the career, like, as hard as you work, you can make more money. I was in a salary job for a very long time. And it just gets very old when you work so hard and your other, your coworkers don't. But
Yeah.
at the end of the day, your paycheck is the same.
Yeah.
So I was like, I need out of this. But the flexibility too, like I have 2 young kids and I didn't want to miss. I was on like an 8 to 5 schedule. I would have to miss every single one of their like after school activities, things like this. It's always, you're always missing things. Where in real estate, like you can literally schedule work around your kids,
Right.
and not the other way,
Right.
you.
But sometimes, like, a lot of people think our schedule is so flexible.
I know.
Often it's dictated by our clients.
It is dictated by your clients.
Right.
But I have help, and you can kind of like, you can pick and choose. Like I'm available for my clients any single time that they need me, like to a certain extent. Like I really try to put a boundary up on Sundays where like that's my day to like rest and relax and just focus on me and the kids and whatever. But if there's, a last minute showing request or whatever, you'll make exceptions,
Right.
But anyway, getting into the industry, that's why I did, for the flexibility. And I will say, I mean, it is flexible. Like that didn't disappoint me, but there are things that you need to adjust, like I'll pick up my kids from school at 2:30 and spend 2 or 3 hours with them, take them to practice, do their homework, whatever. But then I have showings at night. So then you'll get a babysitter for a couple hours at night,
Yeah.
So obviously, I mean, you have to balance work and family, but it is nice that I just feel like I'm in more control of my schedule rather than somebody dictating, what I need to work.
Would you say you have to be really good at time management and maybe discipline with it?
Yeah. Time management, yes. And I struggle with that. So that's definitely been an adjustment. I mean, if you don't plan out your schedule and your week, like it's not going to work out for you, especially when it's crazy busy season and all these houses have like offer deadlines and they only allow showing certain hours, and then, one has a hockey game here and a baseball game there. And I only have babysitting here, like if you don't plan it out, it's you're just setting yourself up for failure.
Mm-hmm. You almost have to plan your lunch, your workout, your rest time.
Yeah,
Otherwise, you'll just work
Yeah.
around the clock, right?
Yeah. Or that
Yeah.
just gets pushed to the side. And that was one of the things I struggled with this summer. It was so crazy busy that I really didn't do anything except work and kid stuff. But I don't think I cooked a meal for like a month.
That's
or
not
did
good.
a workout. I know there's just like no time left in the day. You just have to prioritize what's important and what's not. But yeah, working out got pushed to the side, but we're back now.
Yeah. Well, I mean, being in the industry for 2 years, you're learning maybe how to manage your schedule better as you go. Yeah. So you started part-time.
I started part-time. Yeah, I had a dream to be a part-time agent, which sounds silly because when you think about, or not even when you think about it, but when you get, into it really, you would just be working around the clock. I mean, most buyers want to see houses at nights and on weekends, So if you're working a full-time job Monday through Friday and then you're doing showings at night and on the weekends, you're just working around the clock. I mean, I'm sure it works for some people, but it didn't work for me. So
when did you realize that it didn't work for you?
When did I realize? I don't even know. Probably when I met with you. I honestly didn't want to join a team. I was like, I just want to do this on my own. Like, I wasn't planning on, doing it full time or doing like tons of volume. I kind of just wanted to start getting a little bit of experience, and then maybe like down the line, I thought maybe like when my kids were older, I would do it full time. But then I met with you and you just sold me on the team aspect.
Oh my goodness. What the listeners don't know is Catie is actually part of our team. And I didn't sell you on the team. I think maybe from my perspective, I would say that it may have opened your eyes on the possibilities of real estate and joining a team, but also being a full-time realtor. And to your point earlier, you felt that there was a ceiling. No matter how hard you worked, you got paid the same. But with real estate, there's no ceiling. What you put in is what you're going to get out. Right.
Yeah.
Well, going back to, if you worked a full-time job and you had to do showings and meet with clients and listing appointments on the weekends and evenings, the reality of it, though, is even if we're meeting clients after hours, after 5 p.m. hours that most people work, and on the weekends, are our days free?
No.
Let's elaborate on that.
Well, days you're doing office work, that's when you have to call the attorneys and call the lenders and work on your marketing and call your follow-up and do all that. So really, no, your days are jam-packed. But you can also kind of try to do more on a couple days if you want to give yourself, a more free day. Like I normally try to do like Tuesdays, I want to pick up the kids from school. I want to help them with their homework and things like that. So I do try to kind of like balance it out.
Yeah. So, you hear a lot of talk about work-life balance. I, as you know, been in the industry for almost 25 years now, and I still struggle with work-life balance. Some days I feel that work takes over. Some days I feel like family takes over. I can't seem to get to a place where it's a 50-50 balance on a daily basis. How do you feel about that? How are you managing that?
I completely agree with you, but I also don't think that it needs to be 50-50. I think it's fine if, some days I do work a 12-hour day and I, don't see the kids. Somebody else feeds them dinner, puts them to bed, things like that. But then other days, my workload is lighter. So it's not always going to be 50-50 balance. But what I find makes it better is that I love my job so much, and I'm not just saying that because I'm on a podcast. But like when it doesn't feel like work, it doesn't feel like it's, like you don't dread doing it. It's just so fun. And a lot of times, we're so lucky because our job can be flexible, except when, you have to go on showings and listing appointments. But a lot of, the computer work, I am doing it at home and the kids are around. So having that flexibility helps too.
Right. Well, that's thanks to technology today, right? Back in the day, we did not have that flexibility.
Yeah.
So it definitely makes our job a lot easier now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank God.
Yeah. And I do believe it's all about quality too. It's not how much time you're spending with your kids. It's what you're doing with your time when you are with your kids, the quality of that time that you're spending, even if it's less time than you would like to.
Yeah.
Are you making it, productive? Are you
Yeah.
making it fun for them?
Yeah.
Are you know?
Meaningful. Yeah.
Yes.
And sometimes when you don't, like, I mean, I give so much kudos to stay-at-home moms. I could never be it, but I also feel like I do appreciate my kids more, like, because I'm not with them every single second of every single day, you know?
Absolutely.
And then when I do see them, I'm like, oh my God, you know, like, and then it's nicer. Like we bond in that couple hours that we have together a day.
Absolutely. I'm sure they feel the same way.
We'll see. Jury's still out on that.
So, Catie, being in the business for about 2 years now and succeeding all your goals, what do you wish you knew before becoming an agent?
There's probably so many things, but the job is really different, I would say, than what I was expecting. But it's just like how much you don't know and how much that they don't teach you in like your real estate classes.
What do you learn in real estate classes?
I don't know. They teach you like the legal stuff, you know, that you have to know to pass the test, but it's not like real life scenarios. I mean, they don't really teach you like what a furnace looks like.
Very true.
They don't teach you how to use a lockbox. Like there's just so much like real life stuff that you don't know. Things with like title insurance and loans. Like there's probably just so much that they can't even narrow it down, that you really just have to do the job. And it's kind of like trial and error, like, you know, but I'm so lucky. If I was on my own, I probably would have messed up like so many deals by now, and knock on wood, I haven't messed up any. But because I have amazing people to ask questions to that have been through it, you know, like we have agents. Well, you've been in the business 24 years, so you've seen everything, but I'm sure there's things still that you haven't seen. Right.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And just having like the resources that we have on our team, like we literally have an attorney on call that we can call and ask, you know, any question. And like a home inspector and a mortgage consultant and everything like that. So
all the support.
Really, yeah. Yes. And for new agents, I mean, I always feel like I need to know everything or I'm not going to be able to do it. But then you're never gonna even like take the first step. You just really need to know, you know, like who to call.
Right.
And how to find out the answer, you know.
Right.
I even call some people now and I'm like, I don't know if this is a question for you or for an attorney, but like, just point me in the right direction. You got to make a lot of calls. Like you have to like do the work and you have to do the digging. It's not just gonna happen for you.
It's a very self-taught business in so many ways. You just have to show up, absorb, learn from others, and then learn as you go.
Yeah.
Like you were saying. But it's important to have a good support system that you can go to ask those types of questions to make sure you are doing all the right things by your client. Because, you know, a small mistake could be a very costly mistake for someone in their life, right?
Absolutely.
We all know real estate is the largest investment in most cases in people's lives. So, it's very important.
But we're so lucky to, even going back to what we were talking about with like technology, like, you know, just to have a cell phone in your pocket. Like when I was starting, I had a fake confidence. You know, I would never tell people like, this is the first time I've, you know, shown a house, like, or this is the first time I've done this, you know, like I just went in and acted like I do this every single day. You know, they would ask a question. If I didn't know, I'd be like, that is a great question. And then like text somebody, you know, on the side, you know, while they're looking at something else, and then be like, you know, I think it could be this, whatever. So like just having those resources. And that's even going back to like why I joined this team. If I didn't join this team, I feel like I would be, you know, a little lost.
It definitely helps to have your people that you can collaborate with and work with and gain from their experience,
and
for
you can
sure.
ask any question, and there's no stupid questions. I mean, there's been a million,
There's no stupid question.
No.
Sometimes you ask me a question, even being in in the industry for over 24 years, going on 25 years, really. You ask me a question and often I don't know the answer, or I'm a little unsure about my answer, and I go to my people, like my broker or my attorney that I work with, and ask and verify before I even get back to you.
Yeah.
There's always new changes.
I was going to say things are always changing too, you know?
Right.
So you do, I mean, I feel like to succeed in this industry, you do have to be like adaptable and willing to learn new things, you know? If there's people that are not like willing to change and to like keep up with the times and do, if they want to do things like how they've always been done, it's just, I just feel like it's not going to work.
And it's a disservice to the consumer.
It is.
Yes. Yes. So you mentioned right in the beginning that it's not what you expected it to be like. What did you expect it to be like?
Just selling sunset vibes. Just kidding. I
Well,
don't know.
first of all, we don't live in sunny California.
Yeah, we don't. We don't. I know. I don't even really know what I expected. So I mean, I am a homeowner, but I bought my house. It was a for sale by owner. And so I literally didn't use an agent. So I really,
How do you feel about that now?
I feel crazy. Like what, why did I do that? I mean, I did have an agent, and you know what? And it helps me learn for my clients. Like I was working with an agent, but then this house came up that was a for sale by owner, family friend type of thing. And I did tell her about it. You know, I was like, I'm really sorry. Like, I wish I could do something for you. And she never gave the option like, well, I can still represent you and, you know, we can handle it this way. Like she never did. She was just like, it's fine. Like, just give me a referral or whatever if you know anybody in the future. So I was like, okay. But then I was on my own. And then I just asked my attorney like questions that should have been for my agent, you know, like I really am lucky that it worked out. And this, I mean, it was a different market. It was like over 10 years ago. But it could have been bad.
Yeah. I mean, it's always helpful to have someone guide you through the process, especially when you're a first-time home buyer. Absolutely.
I was clueless.
Absolutely.
I didn't know a thing. I didn't even do a final walkthrough.
So would you say you learned from that? And now if it comes up, it's something that you're offering your client? Should it come up with your client?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's a thing, like, you know, for sale by owners, I feel like are kind of, I mean, they're different. I mean, I don't know even how to explain them, but yeah, and it's not even like to get a commission out of the deal, but I really do it like wholeheartedly to like help my clients, you know, like I really, and I feel like everyone on our team, we are like, we care about our clients and we put their best interests first. So I don't want them to buy a for sale by owner on their own without me helping them. Like they could really, you know, get screwed.
Right. So I always say, work like you don't need the money. The money will follow, right?
Exactly.
It could be future referrals. It could be that your client would be generous with you, whatever it is. But if we work for the best interest of our clients all the time, being our first focus, the rest of it will come. It's no problem.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Agree.
Yeah. So what did you expect it to be like before starting?
I don't know what I expected it to be like.
What was surprising to you the most surprising to you when you actually started and saw how it's really like?
I don't know. I just think like everything that a real estate agent does and like is responsible for. I mean, it's like the list goes on and on and on, you know?
So you don't just show a house and get paid thousands of dollars.
Right. Yeah. Like how we're not just door openers, but it really is. I mean, you need to like know the house too, like how house it like function, you know, you need to be able to tell like what the basement is made out of, like things like that. I think was, you know, eye-opening to me because I'm not like the most handy person in the world. So you really do need to learn. But that, I mean, it comes from experience, and we work with great home inspectors and they, you know, they'll explain everything. So that's super helpful. But then everything on the lender side of it too. Like I'm lucky because my background is in the mortgage industry. Like I've worked at a mortgage company and I worked at a couple banks, in the mortgage department. So I have that, experience. But if I didn't, I mean, you wouldn't know. Like, we need to be able to tell them the different loan types and things like that. Like, there's just so much, and it falls basically on us. I mean, we have people to ask and to refer them to, but ultimately, like, you're like the point person for your client through the whole transaction.
Right. You should understand everything. If I have to give one advice to newer agents, is to do your homework, do a lot of research, even on a neighborhood before showing a house, so you can come across knowledgeable and you know what you're talking about and are comfortable with it.
Yeah.
So, Catie, everywhere I go, and I'm sure you experience the same thing, people are constantly asking, how's the market? What's happening in the market? What's really happening in today's market?
So this winter was honestly, I feel like, a great time for buyers to get a good deal on homes. The houses that were listed this winter, sellers are like extra motivated kind of in the winter, in Buffalo with the snow and everything. A seller doesn't want to deal with a snowstorm when their house is on the market and having to deal with all that,
Unless they have to.
Yeah. Right. But I had a lot of buyers who were able to purchase under list price. Houses were sitting a little bit longer. It was a kind of a switch from what we had been seeing in like the summer and the fall, where pretty much, every home, to a certain extent, but there were multiple offers. They were selling over asking price. Winter, I will always say it is a really good time for buyers. Now, I mean, it's still winter, but I think it's going to start to get very competitive for buyers, and it's going to start like sooner than typical spring market. We're seeing like a lot of offer deadline dates back on listings, which basically means that they're expecting it to be a multiple offer scenario. It doesn't guarantee that it's going to be, but it seems like that's what's happening.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I'm hearing from some of our lender partners that we work with that many buyers are starting to get their pre-approvals, whether they're new to the market and to the buying process, or they weren't able to secure a home last year and getting their pre-approvals updated to see what their buying power is currently.
Yeah.
And that does indicate that buyers are getting themselves ready to go out on the market. So
yeah. I just think, if people are thinking about buying this year, I just think they need to start, earlier than maybe they would have previously thought. If a lot of homes are going to be back to the like multiple offer situation, bidding wars, things like that, you're probably not going to get under contract on the first offer that you submit. So it is going to take a little bit longer, Well,
how's the inventory?
Inventory is low still. It's low. And I just read that article, like Zillow posted that Buffalo's, for the second year in a row, the hottest market, which is great, I guess, for sellers in Buffalo. But really what that means is that there's tons of new jobs in Buffalo, which is also great for our city. But the housing supply is not keeping up with the amount of people that are moving here. I think a lot of people come here for school and then stay. I mean, it's super affordable. They said that the median home price was like $250 or something in all of Buffalo, which compared to the national median price was like $406 or something. So Buffalo's super affordable. I mean, I think it's a great city, obviously, but there's not a lot of like new homes being built. So there's all these new people coming here, and there's still the same number of houses available,
Right.
A lot of people still aren't selling because of, the interest rates, which we've been talking about interest rates for like years now.
But why are the sellers not selling because of interest rates? Can you tell our listeners?
Yeah. So, during COVID, whenever it was 2020, 2021, interest rates dropped to like crazy record low levels, 2%, 3%. So now, those sellers are sitting on a 2% mortgage and they don't want to sell because then they have to buy something. And rates now are up, 6.5, 7 even.
Right.
Some are even,
So even if they're
higher.
a smaller home or a cheaper home,
Yeah.
often their payment is going to be higher than what they're in right now.
Exactly.
due to
I
the
mean, there
interest
are
rate.
still people, selling, obviously, if you're relocating or if you're downsizing, things like that. So there are still people selling, but inventory is limited. In the houses that are good, like, and what I mean by good house is like well kept, the mechanics are functioning, they're in a nice neighborhood, things like that. I mean, they're going quickly and they're going for over asking price. I mean, home values are higher now than they ever have been.
Yeah.
So,
And we find the desirable neighborhoods that people want to or are willing to pay more for houses often have to do with school districts and school ratings, especially for people who are relocating to this area and really don't know the area well.
yeah.
They go by school ratings if they have children.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, and you really have to, But for some people, if they don't have kids, like, I always try to suggest to my buyers, maybe look outside your desired neighborhood. You might be able to find something that you didn't know was there. If you're looking in Williamsville, you can't find anything, you keep getting outbid, maybe, go outside, go to Tonawanda, or go, a little bit farther north or south, even, Cheektowaga. You can find something similar and it's not as in demand because, those people, they'll pay for the school district.
Right, exactly. Yeah. So less competition, some market areas with less competition that they can consider.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So talking about you being able to succeed your goals in such a short period of time and, become so knowledgeable in the industry and able to help so many people, what advice would you give newer agents to help themselves stand out?
Well, one thing that I try to do is to make every client that I work with feel like they're my only client. And I kind of put myself in their shoes when I'm in a situation. I mean, I haven't bought a house in a while, but anything, if you're buying a car or if you're refinancing or anything like that, I like to know what's going on and I like, constant communication. So I just try to ease the stress and ease, any concerns, answer any questions that I can in a timely manner. So I really just try to give my clients like the best customer service that I can so that they appreciate me and they'll refer me, to friends, family, things like that. And then another thing that I do kind of to try to stand out, I mean, there's so many agents, but I try to, form personal relationships with a lot of like the businesses and local people in our community and just, kind of offering my services and the team services, like building those relationships. I mean, real estate is all about relationships. So right. Building that, supporting them, I support them on social media. Anytime I go to like a new business, I try to post about it and I say, oh my God, this small business is doing so great. And so they, they'll kind of think of me if they have, somebody who needs to buy or sell.
So it sounds like you're taking the approach of this business is a relationship business and you're focusing on all the 100%. Relationships.
Yeah.
Not just 100%. With clients, but other people.
Yeah. Exactly.
Do you do a lot of networking?
I try to do networking. I really have to push myself out of my comfort zone to do networking.
Well, but admitting that it's a relationship business.
Yeah.
I mean, it sounds like,
yeah. Networking is hard, but honestly, in Buffalo, there are some great networking groups that makes it easy for you. There's a woman only networking group that I try to go to once a month, and there's women from all different industries, and it is really great, like to meet people that you would not normally meet. Like where else are you going to meet these people? I don't really talk to people in my day-to-day job like that I would speak with here. So it is a great opportunity to meet other people. But there are networking groups all throughout Buffalo. You kind of just have to like push yourself to go out there, and everyone's like nervous. It's not very comfortable. Even if you're the most outgoing person, it's not comfortable for like anybody, but everyone there is kind of, in the same boat, and we're just trying to, meet people and live our best lives.
Yeah.
And help each other, build community.
So the advice here is go out and network, build relationships.
Yes.
Thank you, Catie, for that. And thank you for joining us today.
Of course.
You really elaborated on many insightful points that I think are very true in our business and then also in our marketplace. Thanks for listening to Realtors Unfiltered, where real estate meets reality. If you're ready to buy, sell, or explore joining our team, visit us at inaslatifsalesteam.com. Until next time, keep it real.